Hi, Tom. So, delivering energy efficiencies is key for companies embarking on the net zero journey. Um, why is that, and what can Grid Edge do to help them?
Yeah, sure. So when it comes to trying to achieve net zero and reduce your operational carbon emissions, energy efficiency and trying to reduce the amount of energy you're using is always the most cost-effective starting point, because every kilogram of carbon, ton of carbon you're saving is also energy saved off your bottom line. So it's a direct financial reward for making those energy efficiency measures. Now, some parts of energy efficiency are more easy to do. It's more obvious stuff around reducing wasted energy, out of hours use, inefficient use. But there's also a more data-driven way to achieve energy efficiency, which is through learning the way that your building is behaving and trying to anticipate when you can avoid using unnecessary kilowatt hours. So trying to avoid, for example, issues of overheating or overcooling a space, where a little bit of intelligence and data-driven foresight can enable the energy manager to avoid using too much energy, whereas otherwise they could have delivered a direct financial and carbon saving.
To meet net zero, we acknowledge that energy efficiency is very important, but why must we also go beyond efficiency into flexibility, which is another one of your services?
So yeah, when you're thinking about achieving net zero, it's absolutely essential that you think about not just how much energy you're using, about a reduction in kilowatt hours, but also about when you're using it. And that's because as we have a more renewable and more decentralized energy system, the cost and the carbon content of the power that you're consuming literally changes with the wind and the weather. So every kilowatt hour does not come with the same carbon footprint. So obviously start with efficiency and reduce the total number of kilowatt hours. But once you've got to that fit and efficient building, if you can start to shift your demand into those lower carbon and lower cost times of day, you can then get further carbon and cost savings whilst without having to compromise performance too. And if you really think about it, to get to a true net zero energy profile and carbon profile, we have to be able to match our energy demand to the renewable content of the grid. And it's very rare that you'll find 100% renewable content of the grid. It's simply, certainly in countries like the UK, it's never that windy or that sunny. So the only way to achieve that is through either storage and offsetting, or more practically for building operators, through this flexible approach of shifting your demand into those lower carbon times of day.
And do you want to tell us a bit more about how your technology enables those?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're a company called Grid Edge. We're a startup company, and we specialize in a particular type of artificial intelligence around machine learning and prediction. So we provide a software service that works in harmony with the existing building energy management systems. It gathers data from the building and starts to learn the building's energy profile and energy consuming patterns and how they're affected by things like weather, occupancy, footfall, and internal conditions. And once it's built that model for how the building behaves, it can then start to draw insights and recommendations and optimization methods for helping you to either reduce demand and then shift your demand, always without trying to conflict with your comfort and performance targets for the building itself.
And then talking about flexibility, so of course, if you can think of efficiencies and flexibility at the asset level, but obviously the world's got to change a little bit to deliver net zero. So what do you see happening in terms of step changes to deliver those at larger scale?
Yes, I think so. The way that we try and think about it, the way that our customers talk about it, is as a journey. So that journey usually starts with data, so you can understand what's going on now. And then the most obvious thing to do with that data is to start making those efficiency savings, because they, as I said, they're absolutely the most cost-effective place to start. But once you've done that, you do then need to start thinking a bit more in a bit more sophisticated fashion. And I think the two key trends we're going to see is one, interoperability. So as building operators start to deploy more assets on their side of the meter, whether that's new energy generating assets like solar PV, or new what we might call distributed assets like electric vehicles, or perhaps storage systems or heat pumps, the way that those individual assets can interoperate and balance each other out to make your system more low carbon is really important. And then the final step is going beyond the boundaries of your own estate. So you might be able to reduce your own emissions, but to truly decarbonize the wider UK energy system, we're going to need building operators to work over the meter to start balancing their loads with other buildings, perhaps in their own portfolio, and then ultimately at a local and city-wide level. And that's where you start to see lots of interesting technologies around smart cities. But fundamentally, it comes down to understanding what's going on in your building now, what's going to happen next, and can you do something clever and optimal about it?